you sent the PDF of the story, and I love the image that shows up immediately.
Oh, the very first page, yeah.
And it's a completely different story. It's called The Blue Woman, and it's just a nude woman being like, "Oh God, there's a guy spying on me."
And the guy in the fucking bush is like, "Ugh."
You sent me a PDF file, and I opened it, and it's just a picture of Drake.
Boom. Yeah, look at that.
Anyway.
Welcome to Undercooked Analysis, where we fuck me. I don't know what I'm doing. It's weird when David's not here.
Wop, dot, fuck him up.
Don't worry. I can take over for this. Hey, welcome to Undercooked Analysis. We're gonna read some bullshit, and 2/3 of us are really drunk.
Oh, yeah. I'm not drinking. I actually, have you guys ever had like food poisoning and didn't notice it until after drinking?
Oh, good question.
Oh no.
Huh.
Yeah, that happened to me on Friday. So I must have ate something bad beforehand. I have an idea of what it was. But Dave and I was like, oh great, let's drink. And I have my usual like gin and tonics, and I just have 2 of them. And then I start throwing up immediately afterwards, and I'm what the hell? And like, there's no reason why this would have caused it. And I'm like, oh,
you know what? Actually, you describing that makes sense of my birthday this year.
Oh, really?
We went out drinking, and I had some poke nachos and some drinks, and I threw up a shit ton. And Paprika was there with me, and she's like, you didn't drink that much. You have a high tolerance. What is happening? I'm like, no, I just drank too fast. But now that I'm thinking about it, no, I think those are bad poke nachos, and I got food poisoning.
Yeah, I think because like there is no reason. Like, this is something I've had very often. It was drinks that I mixed myself. Like, this is there wasn't like anything extra or anything, and I wasn't like drinking quickly, and I was drinking water alongside it like I always do. There is no fucking reason why I would be throwing up afterwards. The only thing I can think of is
food poisoning. Damn.
So I think that's probably what happened to you too. Like those coconut.
Sounds like it, which sucks because that place was cool, but I'm not gonna order that again.
It's probably a pedophile. Welcome to Undercooked Analysis.
What the fuck?
For those of us not following the Drake Kendrick Lamar beef.
Oh, it's well over. To put a pin on Beef Watch.
Beef Watch.
Excuse me?
Beef Watch is my favorite gay bar down on 5th.
I used to play bass for Beef Watch.
Drake technically released the last track in this beef, but he sounded so defeated, and it's just like a whole track of, I'm not a pedophile, I promise.
Sounds like the pro tag of that movie we just watched.
But then he released a track it's a cover of Hey There Delilah, but
what?
But he's speaking in like the Toronto Jamaican accent the whole time.
What the fuck?
And it is the most bafflingly terrible track anyone has ever released.
There is only one good cover of Hey There Delilah, and it's Hey There Cthulhu. No one else can touch that song.
So,
Hey There Delilah is like, here's what I've remembered about the Plain White Tees. The songs they make, right, and all that are good when you first start listening to it, but then after a certain point, you kind of get bored of their songs.
Well, they get overplayed like crazy. That's the problem.
So the Drake stands. The song was released by a SoundCloud rapper who does part of it. And at first, because it was released on SoundCloud, all of the Drake stans were like, this is just AI. It's AI. That's not actually him. But then it came out that it was actually him, so the Drake stans had to like realign. And it's like, it's comedy. It's supposed to be funny. He's doing something funny. It's a funny thing he's doing. And the best part is someone posted video of the Plain White Tees reacting to it. And they're just confused.
I'd be
too. I wonder what the Plain White Tees are doing now.
Resting on their laurels.
The other person Kendrick was mildly beefing with is J. Cole, who I actually like. But he also, post-beef, released a really terrible song. He released a song called "Grippy," which is about how he likes tight vaginas.
I mean, who doesn't? But okay.
Also, what constitutes as a tight vagina? Because
True.
It's got to be grippy.
It's relative.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of tight vaginas, we're reading another Dr. Satan.
That is the best transition, Kaela. I love it. And I will tell you why it's the best transition, because if everyone please turns to page 47 of the PDF, page 317 of the actual story, we have some artwork for installment 2 of Dr. Satan, The Man Who Chained the Lightning by Paul Ernst. And the image is very telling. On this series so far...
What page is it on?
47 of the PDF, 317 if you're looking at the actual page.
Oh, okay. I was looking. Yeah, I'll go to 317.
We have injected a lot of homoeroticism into this story.
Yes.
And that was admittedly mostly headcanon. But now I'm starting to think that it's actually just accurate. Because if you look at this image, it is what I assume to be a completely naked Ascott Keane throwing himself at Dr. Satan. I don't know how else to fucking read this image. Someone tell me.
Because that
is there a man with a beard in the background?
Yes.
Yes, that with like a weird ass hat that's giving me like Lord of the Rings vibes.
I don't know. We're hopefully gonna find out, but I have no idea what the fuck this image is.
The Man Who Chained Lightning. Badass title, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wow. And actually, you know what? This actually looks like a Greek.
It does. It's very
image.
Grecian. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got the most likely naked Keane, and then he looks like he's wearing a toga, or Dr. Satan, I assume, is wearing a toga.
Yeah.
And then Zeus is in the background, so
Zeus is like, yeah, do it.
Fuck him up! And then it's called The Man Who Chained Lightning, which is a very Grecian title.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. So this story is gay as hell, is what I'm getting at.
Hence tight vaginas.
Tight vaginas.
So, speaking of, who's going to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
We'll go alphabetical. Myself, Alan, then Kaela.
Cuckoo.
Another amazing tale of Dr. Satan, the world's weirdest criminal, whose startling exploits will hold you spellbound.
I love that he's called... hold on. I love the fact that he's called the weirdest criminal. That's just his talent. And boy, howdy, is it correct.
I love that that's just been wholly owned this entire time of just, he's just fucking weird. Not just weird. Evil, not, nefarious, just weird. Dude's weird.
Yeah.
Chapter 1, Death on the Wall. The wind played an eerie chorus among the dark leaves of the trees lining the wealthy residential street.
No. Read that. Not dark.
The dank leaves of the trees lining the wealthy residential street. So this is rich people, so they're probably going to die. Yeah. Far off, the flickering of lightning split the black September night. From behind the high wall bordering the Weldman estate came a hoarse cry. It was not a shout so much as an exclamation, but in it was packed a horror that could not have been more vividly expressed had the person yelled at the top of his voice. With a low cry, the wind seemed to die down as if to listen. In the lull, the slam of a small gate in the high wall rang out. A man sped through the gate. His face was white in the light of the street lamp 50 yards away. His eyes were wide and staring. His mouth was half open and twisted as if for another cry.
I'm sweaty.
Yeah, I know that feel. It's been hot as balls right now.
He began to run down the street toward the town section. He pounded through puddles and mud. Puddle of mud.
The body's raiding the floor.
Yeah. With his head straining forward and his breath tearing in sobs from his throat. He was slight, bald, middle-aged, and fear lent such speed to his feet that he ran as a youth might run. But only for an instant did he speed through the night. The end of the Weldman wall was still 100 feet in front of him, and suddenly he stopped. This time, a piercing scream came from his lips instead of a suppressed exclamation. The scream echoed down the midnight quiet of the street like a banshee wail. The man began to dance. The man began to dance. The man began to dance.
Dun,
as if grotesque, horrible music sounded from somewhere near, and his feet beat clumsily on the muddy sidewalk. He struck himself with his clenched fists. Against his chest, his fists beat, and then against his throat, as though he had gone mad and was attempting to punish himself for some recent transgression. "I've been a naughty boy," he announced loudly.
This reminds me of that, like how it was in the 1500s. There was that suddenly everybody was dancing.
Oh yeah, the dancing curse.
Yeah, and they couldn't stop, and they weren't sure what to do or what the fuck was happening. And I think it's one of those phenomena that still can't be explained to this day.
100%.
It's kind of like I actually learned recently that the Pied Piper story is a real fucking story. Like, I was like, wait, what? Like, there's a place called Hamlin, and they're all like, yeah, there was some asshole who came here and took our children in the night. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? And apparently if you visit there, like, they have the story everywhere around it. Kind of like if you visit, Roswell, there's just aliens everywhere.
If I had any wherewithal when I graduated with my master's in medieval history, I would have just started a YouTube channel just reading prime source material and just be like, hey, look at this weird shit.
Oh my god.
People do that now, and I'm like, fuck me, I could have done that. Why didn't I do that?
Yeah, that would have been... Where are those people?
Now?
Now I gotta find
Voices of the Past is a really good one. He'll just read a lot of primary source material. It's fucking fascinating. Like, he read when the Americans issued the Declaration of Independence, a British person, like nobleman, issued a rebuttal to it, which is just never talked about, and neither here nor there. But it's just like, what was the response? All we know is, well, we had a war. Well, yeah, but what did everyone else think? It's just really fascinating shit like that. There's one of Japanese samurai visiting Europe for the first time, like after they opened up. Like, there's just tons of cool shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
His screams ripped out in an almost unbroken flow of sound while he struck his throat and chest. Ow. Mm-hmm. But only for a few moments did he dance there and swing his arms. Now I'm just imagining.
The poor man is he's in a mosh pit, but no one else is there to help him.
Aww.
And to participate.
He's there to skank hard for Puddle of Mud.
Yeah. Bodies hit the floor, dropped, and no one is there to mosh with him, and that's just sad.
Actually, Puddle of Mud is a great spa name.
No. Sorry, you said bodies. That's Drowning Pool.
That is Drowning Pool. Fuck.
And Puddle of Mud is an incredibly worse band.
Never mind. Yeah, no. Drowning Pool is good.
Shit. I thought you just made it up. Like,
no. That is new metal goodness. Is Drowning Pool?
Oh damn! Because it was mentioning like how he was.
And around the same time, it made some. They did the I love the way you smack my ass.
I actually thought you made it up because like he was just saying he was dancing in a puddle of mud, and I'm like, oh, that's actually a cool name for a band. No, it's an actual band. What the fuck?
Puddle of Mud was so forgotten as a band. There was an actual skit on crack.com where these guys were all sitting around playing poker, and one of them says, in the middle of a conversation, like, I don't talk to her anymore. She fucking hates me, which is the name of a Puddle of Mud song. And they all look around at each other and start like singing the song together. And then they like, guys, are we Puddle of Mud?
Holy. His screams ripped it. Oh wait, where was I? Fuck. But only for me did he dance there and swing his arms. Abruptly, his screaming stopped, and as though cut through across the middle with a knife blade. His arms ceased to move. He stood in the center of the sidewalk, staring up beyond the end of the Weldman wall. A patrolman was running toward him, drawn by the frightful screams, but the man did not seem to see him. He simply stood there, silent and now motionless, as if turned to rock. And then with the policeman still a dozen yards away, he fell. He moshed way too hard. Just way too hard. Full length to the sidewalk, his body crashed, stiffly like a thing of wood rather than yielding of flesh. And like a rigid thing of wood, he lay in the water and mud of the walk.
As usual, this reads like a really good screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Paul Ernst really wanted to make this into a movie series.
It describes more like a movie. It's like if like the idea of like he followed like a thing of wood,
walking up to a wall and just staring, and it's all very creepy and uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
The patrolman reached his side and bent over him, glaring, sightless eyes turned up into his face. The man's lips moved stiffly. "Master, millions." "What?" said the policeman, raising the man's head. "What's that you said?" The middle-aged man's voice sounded again muffled and thick. "Master, shaving? What the fuck?"
What?
What the fuck? What?
The patrolman almost shook him in his anxiety to hear what was wrong. "What is it?" he snapped. "Are you sick? Have you been hurt? What's happened?" But the man said no more. His face was blackening and swelling. His lips were parting over bared teeth, while between them his breath rattled with ever more difficulty and agony. Then the agonized breathing stopped. The man's eyeballs rolled up so that only the whites were visible, and the patrolman lowered him to the sidewalk to blew his whistle. The man was dead. Instinctively, the policeman crossed himself. Okay, probably Irish, probably Catholic, yeah. As he stood looking down at the body. There was something hellish here, something diabolical beyond all his experience in a world of violence.
Dun, dun, dun.
Baller.
Also, master, millions, master, shaving.
Shaving? Okay, saving. Please save all our crops, our craps.
The squad car screamed. "Ah!" said the squad car.
A dead man.
The squad car screamed to a stop beside the dead man and the cop. The detective jumped out from beside the driver and ran forward. One look he took at the dead blackened face, and he shook his head and whistled. "Waldman's valet. He was on his way to the station house to tell us something. I was standing near when the desk sergeant took the call. Something terrible and too important to be told over the phone," the guy said. "Something about his employer, John Waldman. Some danger hanging over him, I gathered."
John Weldman is the most normal billionaire name we have ever had in this story so far.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed.
Also, he didn't say anything about danger hanging over. He talked about millions and shaving.
We gotta shave millions from the budget.
He's paying himself too much.
He stared at the agonized dead face. "Well, whatever it was he was going to tell us will never be known now. But it must have been something big, for him to have been knocked off like this to keep him from spilling it." "Hey, he wasn't knocked off," said the policeman. "I saw him keel over. There wasn't anybody else in sight," said the very dumb cop. The detective stared somberly at him. You're an idiot, aren't you?"
You're fired.
The detective stared somberly at him. "It doesn't matter whether anyone was inside or not. This man was murdered."
Well, it does if you need to implicate a second party, but okay.
Yeah. He touched the curiously rigid body with the toe of his shoe.
Kicked the body.
Poke.
If only he had said something before he died. "He did," said the policeman. "What?"
Talked about shaving. It was fucking weird.
The plainclothesman's hand shot out and clutched the cop's shoulder. "What did he say?" Just 3 words. And they don't seem to make sense at all. The one smart thing you did have said. He said, "Master, millions, shaving." Oh my god.
This is great.
The detective released his tense grip. "Masters, millions, shaving. That doesn't mean anything to me, but I guess the Valley's secret died with."
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Moving on.
I keep thinking about the John Mulaney bit when he's talking about how easy it must have been to get away with murder in the past. "Detective, we found a pool of blood on the crime scene. Gross. Pop it up."
I'm going to let Alan take... Or no, it was Abby. Abby take over.
Okay, next. But the detective spoke too soon. As far as the police force went, the dead man's secret might have died when he did, and the 3 words muttered by the dying lips might never be made clear to them. but the night was alive with an intelligence far beyond theirs, an intelligence which was aware of things reaching back beyond this death of a servant, and which was already moving ahead of the death toward the apprehension of the case. Across the street from the two men who bent over a blackened corpse was an unusually large tree. Please tell me Ascott Keane is disguising himself as a fucking tree. That would be fucking hilarious. In the branches of the tree, a shapeless shadow clung. The black figure slowly and silently descended, while the plainclothes man and the patrolman waited for the coroner and the ambulance. Under his arm was what appeared to be a small square box. The figure got to the sidewalk, faced the men unseen for a moment, then moved silently off into the night.
Uh-huh.
From a square black box in a pitch-dark room on a long, stormy night.
In a dark room in a dark hall came a dark...
From a square black box in a pitch-dark room came a beam of light, spreading from a half-inch opening to cover a 6-foot silver screen. Just make a movie!
Jesus Christ. They did. It doesn't follow it very closely, but they did. I've downloaded all of it from the Internet Archive.
When are we going to watch it?
After we're done with the actual written series, we will.
On the screen showed a high white wall, the wall of the Weldman estate. I was going to say that also, I have a feeling the Crimson Ghost serial is also in part based on this.
Maybe.
Oh.
The wall of the Weldman estate. In the blank white wall could be seen a dim oblong, which was a small gate. The gate opened suddenly, and a man leaped forth. Even in miniature, on the screen, his face could be read. An expression of stark terror was on it, twisting the partly opened mouth and glinting from the wide eyes. Faithfully, the movements of Weldman's valet were reproduced on the screen. Slight, bald, middle-aged man. Middle-aged, he ran through the night along a white wall. Then the picture showed him stopping and beginning his clumsy, inexplicable dance and beating insanely at his own neck and chest. But the picture revealed something more. Something that made the halt and the self-punishment only too logical.
Back up. Wait, he's watching a movie of what just happened?
He filmed the man getting murdered and was like, I need to study this to find out who did it. He could have just stopped it.
Is this this has to be Ascott Keane, right?
Either that or it's Dr. Satan filming his own work for posterity. I don't know.
It's one or the other.
Just before the man stopped, something moved at the top of the high wall ahead of him. The something was a hand. The hand curved over the wall with fingers contracted as if to pluck something. But the hand did not gather anything in. Instead, it released an object. A tiny object which did not show in the rather dim moving picture until it had hit the unfortunate valet. Then it showed on the whiteness of the valet's throat. It was a tiny blur, too small to be described by the camera lens, but it moved. What?
Uh-huh. In the picture, it showed for just an instant on the running man's throat, and then disappeared under his collar. It was just after that the man stopped and began beating himself. An insect, a deep, brooding voice split the blackness of the room. A poison insect, carried into the Weldman home, no doubt, for the death of the valet there. But the man had left the house on his way to the police station. He nearly escaped. The picture went on, showing the valet's sudden immobility, showing him fall and lie like a log in the mud, in a puddle of mud. Then it showed something else at the top of the wall where where the hand had appeared. The hand was withdrawn now, and a face looked over. It was turned toward the dying man, and it was a face to haunt the soul in nightmares.
There were no features to it. Only a blank expanse showed from forehead to chin, with black holes for eyes. The face masked as though for a masquerade, but there was in the masquerade no suggestion of humor. Over the masked, terrible face was a low-brimmed black hat, and the top of the shoulders showing over the wall also showed black, some sort of cloak. Evil emanated from the masked face, as, like the covered face of a ghoul, it bent over the top of the wall, toward where the valet lay dying. Calmly, terribly, it watched the man twitch and lie still. Then leisurely, indifferently, it disappeared.
Turgidly.
Dr. Satan! A girl's half-stifled cry sounded in the darkened room. There was no reply to the exclamation. The picture continued, revealing the movement of the man's numbing lips. A hand slowed the projector. The picture, running at a slower tempo, showed the formed words on the man's lips. Master, millions, shaving.
Okay.
Then the lips stopped moving, and the figure of the patrolman edged into the film. The projector stopped. There was a click, and light flooded the room.
The Master's Millions shaving makes me think of that My Brother, Brother and Me bit where it's the shrimp heaven now.
Why is this not the title of the entry? The Man Who Chained Lightning. Well, it's clearly about a master man shaving millions or something.
Master Millions shaving. You'd think I never understood when in movies when people died, their last words are just like, what the hell? Who the hell would do something like that? It's kind of like the people when they died, they're like, I need to write one last word in blood before I die. You're like, what? You have the energy to do that?
Depends on the death, but totally.
I'm gonna write my name in my final violent bowel movement.
So we're now number 2, chapter 2, Beneath the Metropolis. This is New York. Yeah, this all takes place in New York City, if I recall, right?
The first one did, and then we moved to Detroit in number 4, whatever. We accidentally skipped to, so who knows where the fuck we are now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Is it my turn?
Yep.
All right. It was a huge room, a library, with books running from floor to ceiling of all 4 walls, crowding windows and the one door of the chamber. Where is this place and where can I go there? Because this sounds amazing to me. The books were all volumes of learning. Oh, disappointing. A library, a library such as few universities have, and containing some yellow tomes dealing with the occult. Okay, maybe it's back up there again. Which no universities would have permitted on their shelves, even had they the wealth with which to purchase them. I mean, Arkham, but whatever.
Hi, I'm Ascott Keane. I'm really fucking rich. I own a lot of books.
And they're all on the occult.
My collection of books of general knowledge, the occult, and erotica.
Yeah. Why is this all gay erotic? Don't pay attention to that.
Don't look at that, Beatrice. It's not for your eyes.
No woman such as you should bear to feast your eyes on such horrifying. Why is it all like homosexual erotica? Shut up.
No reason. Shut up.
Shut up, you're fired.
In the center of the library was a great ebony desk. Standing beside this was a girl, lovely, tall, lithe, with dark blue eyes and hair more red than brown. Ah, there she is.
And we're back.
The sudden light revealed in her dark eye. Well, I thought they were blue. Wait, dark blue. Oh, whatever. Dark eyes as they rested on a man next to her. A look of perplexity, vague horror. Sorry. A look of perplexity, vague horror, and something soft and glowing and shy, which faded the instant the man's gaze answered hers. Beatrice, you need to stop looking like that. That's too complex for a woman such as yours.
Close your mouth. You look weird. Stand up straight.
Can I get another coffee?
The man was one who had brought a glow to many a woman's eyes.
Oh, bullshit. Bullshit.
Here we go. For this was Ascott Keane, interesting to the mercenary for his large fortune. What?
Oh my God.
Wait.
Oh my God.
Okay. And to the unmercenary for his looks. Oh, fuck off.
If you have to tell me, it's not true. I'm sorry.
His face, under coal black hair, with steely gray eyes, shaded by black eyebrows, which have been reproduced in many a rotogravure.
New word.
What is this word? Okay,
what does that mean?
A printing system using a rotary press with antaglio cylinders, typically running at high speed and used for long print runs of magazines and stamps. So his face has been in print a lot.
So his face is basic and... what does that mean?
It means he's so hot that he could be in magazines.
Okay. Sure.
I will have none of this story. We have established that Ascott Keane is a 14-foot tall bird person.
No. Actually, this makes sense. Because, I mean, this whole story has been gay as fuck. And for Paul to write Keane in this detail, I mean,
we skipped ahead too on accident. This is like episode 2, and it's supposed to be, I guess we're building on things that we didn't need to know beforehand. But I also don't believe them. Ascott Keane is not this attractive. It just doesn't make any sense.
To readers of those society sections, he was a wealthy... he has been in magazines.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get it.
He was a wealthy young man who idled when he was not playing games, a fellow without a serious thought in his head. But the girl beside him, Beatrice Dale, his more than secretary, wink wink, knew better.
Uh-huh.
So I guess he's basically Batman without the costume.
No, he is though. Like I don't know if this came out before or after like Batman, but it really feels like this ripped off Batman. Right? Sorry, Batman ripped this off.
Actually, yeah. When did Batman come out? This came out in 1930s, right?
Mm-hmm. 35 or something.
When was Batman first published? I'm gonna look this up now. Because I know 1939.
Ooh.
Damn. Yep. I think. Yeah.
DC Comics, Bob Kane, Bill Finger, you hack frauds.
I'm gonna finish this paragraph.
Yeah.
She knew that Ascott Keane's Playboy character was a cloak under which was a serious, grim seriousness of purpose. She knew that he was one of the world's most learned men in all of the sciences, and in those deep arts known, for want of a better name, as black magic. She knew that he had devoted his life to running down of such super criminals as could laugh at the police and rise to the rather lofty altitude of his own attention. Wait, but like rich people know he's like this detective and shit. Like they go to him and they're like, please help us.
It's really inconsistent. Who knows and who doesn't know who he is? Like there's like a secret cabal of rich people who run in these circles, and it's the same circle that Dr. Satan is targeting. Mm-hmm. And it's like this very just like almost Venture Brothers-esque, like tiny like conglomeration of people who all like know each other and hate each other or something. It's weird. And she knew that the masked, terrible face that had peered over the top of Wellman's wall for an instant belonged to a criminal who was perhaps more than worthy of his attention. A man known only as Dr. Satan, for the Luciferian costume he chose to wear when engaged in his fiend's work. A man of great wealth who had turned to crime to stir his jaded pulses. A man whose name and identity were unknown, but whose erudition, particularly in forbidden fields of learning, matched Keane's own. That was the veiled personality which occupied Keane day and night now, to his own great danger. That was the devil who had killed the valet with a poison insect, and who had done other things in the last few weeks at which Keane, till now, had only been able to guess.
Wait. Okay. Is the reason he was dancing like that was because there was an insect crawling all over him?
I mean, maybe. If it was like crawling up his leg, sure, but it went right for his neck. So,
but it's like the equivalent of like one of those cartoons where someone puts a bug down your shirt and they're like, it's starting a dance. Woo!
It feels very like Looney Tunes, totally.
Yeah.
The telephone on the ebony desk buzzed softly. Oh, the desk hasn't been burnt to a crisp yet.
Yep. Or maybe it is the same desk and it's just ebony because it's been burned.
He burned my chair, but not my desk. He will not win. Buzz softly. Keane picked it up. A harsh voice sounded, speaking in a flat monotone. Ascott Keane, you are... No, this is not monotone. Ascott Keane, you are meddling again. Beatrice Dale heard the voice as well as Keane. Her soft scream rang out. Dr. Satan. Keane's eyes glittered. He dropped the instrument. Bitch. I know you're on the line, too. He dropped the instrument as if it had turned into a serpent in his fingers. Ah, a snake.
Keane, pick up the phone. Put me on speaker.
I want her to hear this, too. I've told you death would strike if you interfered with my plans again, the harsh voice continued, sounding from the floor where the phone lay. And I always keep my promises.
Is Beatrice there? Hey, girl.
What up, girl? You get that thing I sent you?
House Queen.
Slay.
The words ended, swiftly and dramatically. With their ending, the telephone on the floor jumped like a live thing. Nope. That's not what happened.
Nope.
What? while from transmitter to receiver in a thick blue arc, crackled a stream of electricity that would have killed a dozen men.
Hell yes!
Cool.
The crackling arc streamed just as far lightning flickered in the sky south of New York and died as the lightning died. He stared at Beatrice, who had gone white as death. So, that coffee, where are we at on that coffee?
I'm really thirsty.
He can harness the lightning, he breathed. That I cannot do myself. I can't stop him soon. God knows what will happen to this city, to the whole country, to the whole planet.
I'll have to dress myself in rubber the entire time.
He stared at the instrument. The metal was half melted. The hard rubber had been utterly consumed. Then he shrugged and turned
What?
Oh, well.
Back to my home movies. Check this out. This is me on water polo.
And he shrugged and turned toward the screen again, where dimmed now by the lights in the room but still showing, was the picture of the dying valet, showing motionless but with the stoppage of the projector. But I will stop him! Ian's voice came bleakly. No. Dr. Satan, hear that, wherever you are now. I know you're
right here on the phone. You never hung up, dumbass.
But like he says it like, but I will stop him. Dr. Satan, hear that wherever you are.
I'm so tired.
Again, shrugs, watches his home movies. Yeah,
none of this means anything.
He stepped across the melted telephone with a gesture that brushed into a past of forgotten dangers, the fate he had just narrowly escaped, and stared at the lips of the pictured man.
Deeply with concern and interest.
Shaving. He repeated while Beatrice gazed at him with the fear in her dark blue eyes, almost buried by that soft glow which she never allowed him to see.
Sure.
Shaving. I think in that word lies the key to the problem we've been working on the last few weeks. The problem ending with the death of the Weldman's valet. Actually, you know what? This is the first rich person that hasn't... No, wait. No, wait. There's been non-rich people that get murdered later on.
No, totally.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But actually, in terms of this is the first non-rich person in the timeline of Dr. Satan.
As the first to die, usually is a rich person, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is different.
Yeah.
Swiftly, Keane reviewed the problem, one which he alone had become aware of. A string of events which singly had been noted by several people, but which in their entirety had been remarked on by no one. That doesn't make any sense. One by one, over the past 2 weeks, 4 wealthy men in New York had done odd things.
It is.
That's just New York, baby.
Yeah.
Each had disappeared from his office without warning, in 3 cases breaking important business appointments.
Again, that's just normal rich people.
Each had then been seen neither at home nor in any accustomed haunt for many hours. Following that, on his return, each had seemed to avoid both his home and his office, appearing only now and then at either place and letting his business take care of itself. Each in those 2 weeks had personally drawn large sums in cash from the United Continental Bank of New York. Always that bank, never any of the others in which they kept money. Each of the 4 was living alone in his great home with only his servants, his family happening to be away at the time. And each, in the few times he was in home or in office, did odd things which seemed to indicate a suddenly faulty memory.
Again, normal rich shit. I don't understand why.
This is nothing weird. These things Ascott Keane, alone in the city, had noted and pieced together into a pattern he felt sure had sinister meaning. More, it was a pattern behind which he thought he could sense the figure of Dr. Satan in his red robe, with red rubber gloves hiding his hands, and red mask and cap hiding his face and hair and interesting lips.
Yeah.
John Weldman. Copper magnate, sorry.
Yeah.
Copper magnate had been the last to go through the queer antics.
Yeah. Good for him.
Everyone listen to our new podcast, The Queer Antics.
That actually is a great name.
That's a good name. It's pretty strong.
So the wall outside Waldman's estate, Ascott Keane had taken his special moving picture kit.
What?
You can't, story.
Wait, was that Ascott Keane
I called it.
Oh my god.
His stupid, funky ass was hanging in a tree with a 1930s giant-ass moving picture camera going like, yep, I'm going to just watch this happen. I'm not going to intervene.
I just want to imagine him up there filming and like someone just passing by and looking up at him and being like, are
you okay?
Are you Ascott Keane?
Playboy millionaire?
I've seen your picture in like magazines.
No.
What are you doing up there?
Nothing. Never you mind.
You can't see me.
I think you might be right, Abby, that he's actually dressed up as a tree and then snuck out with this.
I'm a tree.
Ooh.
And so the wall outside Waldman's estate, Ascott Keane had taken his special moving picture camera, which recorded movement in dark night by means of an infrared ray attachment he had invented.
That's cute. That's not how that works, but all right.
I kind of love that, like, this is so old-timey that they have to make an excuse for why the camera works at night. Where it would nowadays it'd be like, yeah, of course the camera works at night.
Ascott Keane was shooting day for night.
And the camera had recorded the death of Waldman's valet, which Keane had been too far away to prevent.
Bullshit.
Oh, come on. He had time to film it, but
he knows occult magic. He's like, oh, look, he's dying. I guess I'll just continue to film this.
And the movement of his dying lips. Master, millions, shaving. Beatrice peered into Keene's steely gray eyes. What does it mean? She whispered. Do you know yet, Ascott? I think I do, said Keane slowly. I think I do. There is my coffee.
If I don't have a cappuccino on my desk in the next 5 seconds, you're fired.
Beatrice, why aren't you doing your job?
Why are you still here? Oh.
The flickering lightning to the south of New York lit with its rays a small graveyard in the heart of the downtown section of the city. It was a curious little cemetery, less than 100 yards square. Long unused, it was dotted with crumbling tombstones over which long grass grew. Cool. On two sides of it, a great factory built in an L shape made a pitch-dark 5-story wall. On the third side, an old apartment reared its height. On the fourth side, the street side, a high, rusty iron fence closed it off. Yeah, this is you're describing a movie. This is a set for a movie.
Yeah, so much of these stories is just like I'm building on a set. I'm building on a screenplay.
A curious forgotten place of death in the heart of New York, encroached on by the factory and the apartment building. But more curious yet was a figure which furtively approached the rusty gate in the fence and paused a moment to make sure no person was near. Is this our
This is Dr. Satan. He always holds up in these random-ass abandoned locations.
Yep. The figure was tall and gaunt. A low-brimmed black hat hid its head and most of its face. The rest of the face showed masked, a blank expanse covered by red fabric. There he is! There's a boy!
Yeah.
A long black cloak covered the figure from neck to ankles, making it blend into the darkness.
The gate creaked open and the figure glided in among the moldering tombstones. That's fucking cool. Beside one which lay prone in the rank grass, the figure stopped. Then it stepped on the 6-foot slab, and the slab sank under it. A yawning hole appeared where the slab had been, a dark pit into which the figure disappeared. After an instant, the slab rose and settled into place. Apparently as it was before, looked as though it had lain there solid and undisturbed for a dozen years. Under it, the black-cloaked figure went down a passage that slanted yet lower into the earth. The passage was lined with broken rock, and through the cracks occasional bits of rotted wood projected. They were remnants of ancient coffins, and with them now and then could be seen bleached white fragments. Bones. The figure opened a door at the end of the passage and stepped into a chamber as bizarre as it was secret. It was a cavernous room 20 feet square, lined with the broken rock, as was the passage. It was very dim, with a small red lamp in the corner near the door as its only illumination. Along the far wall were cages small about the size of large doghouses. In these cages, 4 white figures squatted like animals. In the dim light, their species could not be determined. They were simply whitish, distorted-looking beasts which seemed too large for their small cages.
No.
Oh, what have you done, Dr. Satan?
And remember, there were 4 rich men.
True.
I did just want to address, since we're talking about Dr. Satan staying in like random warehouses and shit.
Yeah.
One of the comments on our previous episode, someone said, Dr. Satan question, when are you going to invest in an island with a skull-shaped mountain layer? And I responded.
At your brothers.
I responded to this comment. And I think because Dr. Satan feels like anytime Ascott discovers a lair or anything about his plans, he has to abandon the plan entirely.
Yeah.
Yep.
He isn't willing to invest in the real estate. Like, the Egyptian fire worked because he hates repeating plans, and Ascott figured that out. He just stopped using it entirely. Like, it's a foolproof way to kill somebody, but he's just like not into it now that Ascott knows.
Yeah, no.
But the moment Ascott Keane waltzed into Dr. Satan's Skull Island, he'd have to give it up and move somewhere else. So that's why there's no Skull Island. He'd rather just move to a new warehouse and hang a bunch of black curtains.
Sure. Yeah. And there's plenty of those in New York, so hey.
Where are we at?
Leaning against the wall.
Leaning against the wall, near the light, were 4 figures that looked at first like sleeping men, but a glance told that they could not be that.
They were sleeping
fully
naked
clad, clad in expensive clothes.
Damn it!
They leaned there like sticks, without flexibility or movement, more like dolls than men, perfectly fashioned in the image of man, but seeming to want motive, power, and direction.
Okay.
In the center of the room, drawing themselves to attention as the black-cloaked figure entered the weird chamber, were 2 creatures that would bring a chill to the spine of any man.
Yeah!
Here we are.
It was an alert, agile little man with pale eyes shining cruelly through a mat of hair over his face. And this one, ape-like in movement and thought, was Gurse, Dr. Phaeton's faithful servant. The other was a giant with no legs, who supported his hugely muscled torso on his hands, swinging it along on his knuckles as he moved. This was Bostiff, the second of Dr. Satan's henchmen. I missed him.
Yeah.
My boys. The figure that entered the room stood straight. Its shoulders moved, and the black cloak dropped. With a sweep of a hand, the black hat was removed, and the figure became a thing to haunt forever the sleep of any who might chance to see it.
God, he is so flamboyant. I love it.
Yeah. A red robe sheathed body and limbs. Red rubber gloves were over its hands. I love that they keep saying it.
Mm-hmm.
The face was masked in red, and the head was covered with a red skull cap, so even its hair did not show. My pronouns are its.
My pronouns are it and Satan.
You call me Satan or you call me it. That is it.
Also, Doctor.
From the skull cap, in mocking imitation of Satan's horns, 2 small red knobs projected Lucifer.
Hell yeah.
So, I'm going to finish this paragraph, but then I'm going to say something. Someone going robed as Satan to a costume ball, but instinct whispered this was no mere costume, that the man underneath the sinister makeup was as malevolent as his garb was mocking. So, next week, Dave and I are going to be hosting a friend of his. Mm-hmm. And this friend, I don't think he remembers this, but I used to just refer to him as Beelzebub. Or reason being is because when David first told me about him, I said, "Oh, I'm like, who's this?" And he said, "Oh, he voices every Satan character in every Midnight Marinara. If there's a Satan type character in any of the Midnight Marinara episodes, I get him."
Nice.
So I'll be hosting my own Satan this coming week.
Baller.
Yeah. I think I know he'll probably look at me when I say, "Oh, it's you, Satan," and he'll look at me and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Hi, Satan.
That was how you were introduced to me. I'm sorry. Master, breathed Gers. Dr. Satan. Bostiff scraped his calloused knuckles along the floor uneasily and stared at Dr. Satan out of a stupid, dull eyes.
Like, okay, if we...
That's who I am, Gus.
Good job. Your object permanence is improving. If we were like all watching this in, a la, like other like, cult movies that everyone just goes and watches, like we'd be fucking cheering when this happened. Like, we know exactly what's going to happen in this story, but it doesn't matter. We'd be hyped the fuck up.
I would love to see this like as a film, but then shown at like a midnight screening.
Exactly.
And then people show up, and then they're just throwing popcorn at the screen, going, "Wah!"
Yeah, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, like shit like that. This would be so fucking fun. I would love this.
Last story, we had a long discussion about who we felt should play.
We Dr. did. Satan. That's right. That's right.
And Ascott Keane, or if they should be played by the same person, or.
I think we agreed Ascott Keane was going to be one person, and Dr. Satan would be a different person every act, just to like further drive Keane's madness. Just have them act different, voice different. Like, it's obviously different people, but it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it'd be so fun.
That'd be cool. And then at some point, the person who plays Ascott Keane must also play Dr. Satan at another point.
At the end, he's playing both of them.
Yes.
That'd be amazing. Dr. Satan glanced at the cages in which were dimly to be seen the curious whitish animals. In his eyes, peering out of the eye holes in the red mask, was a glint of velvet cruelty. Oh god,
that's a great description.
Velvet cruelty.
I used to play bass for velvet cruelty.
Seriously, goddamn. When this story hits, it hits. Have they been fed? He asked, his voice a harsh monotone. Nope. They have been fed, replied Gers. They have given no trouble. None, master, said Bostiff, grinning significantly.
Have you taken them on walkies?
How are the poopsies? A feeble groan sounded from one of the cages. One is ill, snapped Dr. Satan. One is near death, retorted Bostiff. The cold down here, no matter. All have their duplicates, so that any may die without hurting my plans. Any save the last to come here, and I intend to remedy that now. The arrogant, harsh voice of Dr. Satan was drowned by a shriek from the cage in which the groan had sounded a moment before. The strange white animal in it suddenly reared up, or tried to, beating its head against the top of the cage. It rattled the bars for an instant, and then fell. There was deathly silence in the chamber under the graveyard. Then Dr. Satan strode to the cage. Dead, he said indifferently. At the word, the other three animals in the adjoining cages set up a wailing and howling, chattering noises that sounded oddly like words. Silence! Commanded Dr. Satan. The chattering ceased. Bostiff! The legless giant hitched his torso toward the cage. Take this one into the next chamber. Dr. Satan's red-gloved hand went under his robe. It came out with an odd thing, like a crystal tube. If it's another fucking death box.
Oh, no! Oh, my God! I was expecting it to just be kinky at that last sentence, but then it got worse and
worse or better. It came out with an odd thing like a crystal tube, an inch in diameter and nearly a foot long. God
damn!
Woo! All right.
Satan be packing.
Yeah, absolutely. Place this against the body, with the free end slanting towards the south where the lightning still plays. Oh, hell yeah. Bostiff visibly paled. Well, that draws the lightning in here, master. The walls and the roof will collapse. Do as I bid you, grated Dr. Satan. The walls and roof are safe, but the fires of heaven will consume the carcass, and so we are rid of it.
Nice.
Bostiff grunted and nodded his great head. He opened the cage in which the white beast had fallen and dragged it out. But now, as the carcass was drawn nearer the light, it could be seen that it was not a beast at all. It was a man, elderly, naked, hideously scarred, and emaciated.
I thought they were dressed. Which one?
Weren't they dressed earlier? What the fuck?
A bunch of old naked men.
I think the dressed ones are the duplicates, is what he was implying.
Maybe.
Wait, so there's two. Okay, whatever.
They said 4 cages. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, there's 4 cages. So yeah, and they said there were 4 men. Whatever.
Maybe he stripped them and Paul Ernst forgot to put that in there.
Wait, because didn't Ascott Keane earlier said like they just are acting queerly, and we're like, I don't see anything queer about it. Are these like the original 4 men? And then he has. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And these are the copies are right now have taken their place.
The clones are the ones acting weirdly in the public light right now, and these are the originals. I think you are right.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But
okay.
But now, as the carcass was drawn nearer the light, it could be seen that it was not a beast at all. It was a man, elderly, naked, hideously scarred, and emaciated. And so the other 3 left alive in their cages were men, penned up like animals in spaces too small to allow them to lie or stand at full length.
Ooh.
Pitiful captives held here for Dr. Satan's purpose. Dumbly, cowering behind their bars, they watched the red-robed fiendish figure. Dr. Satan went to a chest as Bostiff dragged the dead man through a door, leading to another underground room like the first. He took from the chest a small object looking prosaic in this dimly lit chamber of horrors, beneath a small forgotten cemetery. It was a checkbook for the United Continental Bank of New York City.
There it is.
The easiest fraud ever.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Satan walked with the checkbook to the end cage. He handed it and a pen to the shadowy white figure within. Take out 5 checks, he commanded. 3 for $150,000 apiece, 2 for $100,000.
We're going to Vegas.
Yeah. I would love to go to Vegas with you too, by the way.
Hell yeah.
The cowering figure in the cage straightened a little and refused to take the book and pen through the bars. Bostith! Called Dr. Satan. His voice was soft. Nope. And there was in it an essence of terror that made Gerst, the little 8-man, shiver.
I don't want to tell tales out of school, but it's very possible that we might work on our own production of Dr. Satan. And if we do that, I want every one of us to voice Dr. Satan at different times and just have zero continuity. Just everyone gets the chance to voice him because it's just so fucking fun.
I agree with this.
I also wanted to say that in one of our previous episodes, it was my own joke. It's maybe my most re-listened to moment from UCA because we were just so on point, fucking hilarious. When we were playing out Keane, if not knowing who that one guy's name was. And
I love that moment so much.
And it's we were playing Keane trying to remember. It is like,
his best
not curse. No, not curse. Bostiff. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Beatrice?
Kane doesn't know and remember anybody outside the small circle of people.
Girl, where's my coffee? Girl, my name's Beatrice.
Who are you? Shut up. Oh.
The legless giant came from the next chamber, leaving the door open. The doorway was suddenly flooded with the light that beat at the eyeballs like whip.
Oh, okay.
That is quite the description. Okay.
Right.
Through the portal could be seen the dead man who had been taken out of the cage. But when the flash was over, only charred remnants of the corpse were left. That was all. All right. The crystalline rod in their midst waited to bring the next lightning flicker from the south to consume even the remnants. Yes, master. Oh, I wish I could do that voice. David can. Said Bostiff, dragging his great body forward. This man does not want to do as he is ordered. You will persuade him. All right, then, screamed the man in the cage suddenly. My God, don't let that legless fiend get me. All right, then. Damn.
Okay.
What did Bostiff do?
Bostiff is capable of much.
Yeah. Dr. Satan's red mask moved slightly, as though beneath it, his lips shaped themselves to a smile. He handed pen and book through the bars to the miserable, naked creature in the cage.
As is tradition, we will do 3 chapters and then call it. Which I really like because it's almost as if we're making cliffhangers, which would be normal for this.
I actually, as we read this, is like, yeah, this would actually make a good kind of like serial podcast.
Hell yeah. I would love to write our own. Oh, God. I am like so many seltzers into this story. It's great. Yeah. For everyone listening, Alan and I recorded a Jameson tapes before this, so we are feeling it.
We're in uncharted waters right now.
Yeah,
pretty great.
Although I don't feel like I really have to babysit you guys right now.
No, we're okay.
We're professionals.
We are.
You're professional drunks. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Chapter 3, The Red Trail. In the morning, which was flooded with calm sunlight after the night's storm, Ascott Keane paused a moment before the impressive stone facade of the United Continental Bank. The bank building looked like a fortress, with thick walls and bronze doors that could have withstood an army. It spoke of comfortable, prosaic wealth, second time we've heard prosaic, and the power to hold it indefinitely from marauders. It spoke of a world of skyscrapers and giant industrial plants and motor cars. It seemed to give the lie to the possibility of the existence anywhere of a person capable of looting it. A person like Dr. Satan, who could laugh ironically at bronze doors and stone walls. Just had this image of him standing outside going,
It's funny because like this description is like, ooh, I love this kind of Art Deco sounding sort of thing, and then suddenly it's Dr. Satan coming up going,
that's bullshit.
Sir, that guy at the costume is outside laughing at us again.
I'm feeling really threatened.
Just ignore him.
And starts pressing.
I could break into this bank if I wanted to, you cucks.
It's like, do we call the cops, sir?
What do we call it? He's just laughing. We can't call the cops on that. Keane passed through the guarded entrance of the bank and went to the rear of the great room within, past marble and glass counters, cages in which shelves of money changed hands, and desks at which transactions involving millions were being accomplished. At the rear was a private elevator which went up to a big office on the fourth. Oh, God, please meet with another CEO. Oh, I can't wait.
Yes.
On the fourth floor of the building. The office was marked President. Keane's name gave him instant entree to the president of the bank. For Keane was known to this man not only as a wealthy citizen whose business would be useful, but also in his more secret role of marvelous capable criminal investigator. Keane, said Mercer, the president, it's good to see you. What brings you here? He glanced at the electric clock on his desk. Only 9:30 in the morning. That's practically dawn for you, you lazy shit. At least that's what you like to let people think. Keane did not smile in return. Keane is an asshole. He studied the man. Mercer was a small man, lean and leathery, with prim nose glasses like a schoolteacher. One might be tempted to dismiss him as prim and fussy till the jaw was noted. Mercer had a jaw like a steel trap and blue eyes that were shrewd, capable, and honest-looking. I'm here to ask about a few of your customers, he said. I think I know which ones, said Mercer, the smile fading from his leathery face. Sit down and tell me about it. Keane took a chair at the end of Mercer's desk. It was an enormous desk. It was huge. It was fantastical in size. On it there was no welter of papers.
Playing on his desk.
On it there was no welter of papers. It was bare save for a large onyx electric clock, which was at the back and end of the desk between Mercer and whoever sat in the visitor's chair. The men I wanted to talk to you about, Keane said, are Edward Dombey, Harold Cragness, Shepard Case, and lastly, John Wildman, all rich and all depositors here.
It's 3 weird-ass names and one fairly normal.
John Wildman, yeah.
Shepard Case.
Cragness.
Harold Cragness. Mr. Dombey.
What's that, Mr. Dombey? Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts.
Cragness. Shepard. Mercer leaned back in his chair, putting the tips of his fingers together, saying nothing, letting Keane talk before he told what he himself knew. I've learned, Keane went on, that all 4 of these men have been making heavy withdrawals of cash here lately. For some reason, each of them has found it necessary to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in bills with them. Yet here's an odd thing. Each of the four has deposits in other large New York banks. Between the four of them, indeed, they have large sums in no less than 6 of the biggest banks in the city. Yet they always have come here to draw their cash. Mercer stirred. I didn't know that, he said thoughtfully. Wait, I thought you said you knew why you were sure. Well, it's true. So I came here to see if I could find out why. And I think I have. Keane glanced at the onyx electric clock. That is, I believe I have, if the checks happen to be made out in this office.
See, okay, right here, this is the problem of just broadcasting everything that we know about Dr. Satan, because there's no mystery here. No. And we're wasting time of Keane going to Mercer and saying, I don't know why they're withdrawing out of 2 different banks. Yeah, but we know. So what do we? Cool. Why bother?
Why do we need the scene?
Yeah, it's the party of third party. The problem with third party omniscience. It's stupid, but whatever. I feel
like this scene should have came before the other one, with before Dr. Satan, if that's the case. Like if we wanted to really make it feel like a mystery, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mercer nodded. They were all of them. All right, tell me about them, said Keane, leaning back to listen in his turn. Mercer cleared his throat. Those are the 4 men, and that's the business. I expected you to ask about when the girl announced your name. He said, huh? Because there's something damn queer about it. Gay as shit, man.
Something gay about all these bank transactions.
Although I haven't been able to puzzle out what it is. It started 2 weeks ago. Harold Cragness came up here. He talked pleasantly enough with me for a moment or two, and then said he wanted to cash a rather large check, $175,000. He thought I'd better put my initials on it so the teller would pay the money without question. I can finish this part. That was queer. Both his desire to get the sum in cash and his idea that I should countersign his check. I wouldn't have had to do that. He could get anything up to $500,000 downstairs without special arrangement. But I scribbled my initials on the check and... Just a minute, said Keane. Did he bring the check here already made out? Mercer shook his head. He wrote it out here on my desk before my eyes. He waved it a minute or two to dry the ink, disregarding a blotter I passed him, and then handed it to me. It was his signature, all right. Oh, yes, no doubting. Go on.
What if you'd stop fucking interrupting me, Keane?
What the hell up?
Cragness went out with the check and cashed it downstairs. I thought about it a lot. Why should he want all that in cash? The obvious idea was that he might be blackmailed or something. That was the idea? And you didn't do it? Okay. But he didn't look like a man under a strain. He was cheerful, laughing, and I certainly couldn't question the genuineness of a check made out of here in front of me. Wait, but didn't we witness in, this guy signing the check, or the elderly naked guy signing the check?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if the clones aren't as good, so he's just having them signed on the spot as opposed to sending them to the bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But are they making the check out there?
I thought no more about it then, till 2 days later. Then Dombey came in and went through the same rigmarole, only with a check for $200,000. After that, the flow started. Cragness came in again, and Dombey, and then Case, and finally Weldman. All well known to me. The 4 of them cashed check after check, all for big sums. Never did any of the 4 seem worried or terrified as they would have been if they were buying their way clear from some sort of danger. Yet, all those checks. I want to also highlight, Dr. Satan keeps getting away with these schemes and has unbelievable amounts of capital at his expense. These are crimes that have happened that cannot be reversed or are not reversed. So Dr. Satan just keeps winning over and over again. It's really funny.
That's $200,000 in 1930s money.
That's millions of dollars. That's a fuck ton of money. I was certain something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. In each case, the check was written here in the office by the man himself. Each man denied that anything was wrong when I exceeded my rights and asked them bluntly. I went so far as to put a private detective on the trail of one of them, Dombey, though for heaven's sake don't ever let anybody know that. The detective reported that Dombey met no suspicious characters. He went home with his money where he seemed cheerful and unalarmed. His wife and daughter are away in Europe, you know. I know, said Keane grimly.
So I looked it up because I can't remember the year this took place, but I put 1935.
Sure.
It's over 4 million today.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know, said Keane grimly. He glanced at the clock again. Each man made out each check here before your eyes so that you could testify that nothing could possibly be wrong. Testify, said Mercer quickly. Let it go, said Keane. We'll put it this way. Each check is beyond suspicion, and you, the president of the bank, could swear to it, which is an important part of the game. Game? Come, Keane, tell me what's wrong. It's too soon, Mercer. Tell me one more thing. You say each of these 4 men is known to you personally. You couldn't possibly be fooled by somebody made up to represent them? Not possibly, said Mercer. Besides, there were the checks made out in their handwriting while I watched. The 4 seemed absolutely normal to you? Keane persisted. Mercer hesitated for a full minute before he answered that. Then his voice was a little strained, a little chilled. Normal? That's a hard word to describe, or to define. Each of them was undoubtedly the man he said he was. The 4 who came in here and between them have drawn several millions in the last 2 weeks were certainly Dombey, Cragness, Case, and Wildman. And each seemed cheerful and without worries, and yet...
Well, prompted Keane as the man stopped. Well, in spite of all that, it didn't seem what I would call normal. It's hard to describe it. They all had trees growing out of their heads. Did I mention that? They're all like hooked up to strings and like moving about like marionettes. There's a guy dressed like the devil who told me he's gonna make one of them talk while he was drinking a glass of water. It's hard to describe it, and I can't as applied to them. I can only tell my own reactions. He moistened his lips and stared past Keane at the blank office wall. Glad we had a lip moistening paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very, again, movie. This is...
Movie. Yeah.
There was something the matter with those men, Keane. Something devilish. All the time I talked to each of them, I could feel it. A sort of chill along my spine. A feel of horror. He tried to laugh. I used to feel that way when I was a boy and passed near a cemetery at night. That's all I can tell you, Keane. I'm afraid it isn't much. It's a lot, contradicted Keane. He got up, eyes icy with growing knowledge. A lot! Thanks, Mercer. He left the bank. 4 men who seemed without worries, but who cashed large checks as though being bled by some criminal ring. 4 who seemed normal at first glance, who made the bank president feel as if he had felt near a graveyard as a boy. Keane went to the president's offices of the 5 other big banks in which the 4 men had large deposits, and from which none had drawn money in the past 2 weeks. He found what he had thought he would find. On the desk of none of the 5 executives was there anything corresponding to the onyx electric clock on that of Mercer. Their desks were bare of all but papers. What?
Wait, what?
Huh?
What?
What does the onyx electric clock have to do with anything?
I'm sure it'll be explained, but that's very arbitrary sounding.
Ian, you weird bitch, what's happening?
In his big library, to which none gained admittance save after searching preliminaries, the frosted glass television screen on his ebony desk glowed softly. The face of Dale was reflected.
What are you doing here?
Woman! Where's my coffee? He pressed a button and the door swung open. Beatrice came in. Wait, I thought her face was... Whatever. He stared inquiringly at her. Who are you again? She was dressed in street clothes and had evidently just come in. I have just come from Mr. Weldman's home, she said. I talked to a maid there. The servants are all terrified, and of course, at the death of the valet. Keane nodded impatiently. Yes. They would be naturally. But Weldman, how about him? How does he act? Beatrice caught her red lip between her teeth. He acts cheerful, absolutely normal. In fact, he seems almost too cheerful after the murder of his man. Certainly he seems in no danger, nor does he act like a man who is being blackmailed. Did you see him? Yes. I saw him for a moment from the servant's wing. I just got a glimpse of Ascott. Her voice sank. I had the most uncanny sensation when I saw him. There's something about that man. Something... She stopped with a shudder. Go on.
Period?
Yeah. Woman, I told you not to come here when you're during that time of the month. I don't want to deal with feminine problems. Go on, said Keane gently. It's impossible to put into words. He frightens me. I don't know why. And it isn't exactly fright. It's horror. What's the fucking difference?
I saw an interesting YouTube video that explained the difference between terror and horror.
Oh.
And you could make a distinction. It's not always so binary.
Okay.
But terror is an immediate feeling, one that is very pervasive, and it's like it was brought up in the example of the game Subnautica, which is not a horror game, but is the scariest damn game I have played in the past 15 years. Because you are constantly afraid of the open ocean and whatever giant monstrous fish are going to eat you the entire time. But it's not a horror game. Resident Evil is a horror game. And that's kind of the difference. It's not it's not like the most obvious, but like horror it's almost more thematic. Terror is just this more primal feeling.
Gotcha.
And sometimes you can make that distinction. Not always. But if I had to apply it here, it would be I wasn't scared of Mr. Weldman, but I was horrified at just what was going on. Maybe that's the difference.
Okay. Do the servants feel the same way about him? The girl touched her burnished red-brown hair distractedly. Yes. They're a little afraid of him without knowing why. Several are leaving because of the valet's death, they say. But I'm sure that vague feeling of horror is part of their going. Keane's large, firm mouth tightened. His strong fingers clenched a little, but his voice was as even as he said, "The rest of the report, please. You saw the barbers I listed and talked to the other barbers."
Barbers? Multiple?
Like shave? Oh, is this the whole shaving thing?
Oh.
And talk to the other valets?
Yes, I talked to the barbers in the 4 buildings where Dombey, Case, Cragness, and Weldman have their suites of offices. And I talked to the valets of Cragness, Case, and Dombey. None of them had shaved any of the 4 in the past 2 weeks. Her face colored a little. It seemed a silly question to ask them, Ascott, but I know you must have a good reason for telling me to inquire about it. I did, said Keane. The best. The answer to that question clears up in my mind almost the last of the mystery of Dr. Satan's latest crime methods. Precisely how he is draining the fortunes of these rich men. Beatrice shook her head, bewildered. Perhaps it's clear to you. I certainly can't understand it. And I can't understand what it is that takes place in Dr. Satan's mind. He is a master of 100 secrets of nature unknown to all others, save perhaps you. He could get all the money he wanted if he chose, without these dreadful crime plots. Keane looked at her with his gray eyes, reflecting a knowledge of the motives of men that was far beyond the knowledge of other mortals could glean from human contacts. Yes, we know. Shut up.
He's very smart.
He's smart and rich, whatever.
And he is so much more smart than this woman.
This petty secretary. You don't look at it from the right angle, Beatrice. Money, it isn't money alone Dr. Satan wants. He has more than enough of that without plotting for it. It's the game itself he is after. The grisly, stark game of plundering his fellow men of their fortunes and souls and lives, solely for the thrill of conquering them. Of course, he must get the money too. One of the dark rules of this game is that his crimes must pay. But the fact that he is not purely a money-grabbing criminal is what makes him so infinitely dangerous. That and his learning.
It's all about money.
No, I just want more money. Yeah. I have very expensive taste, Keane.
I am rich like the rest of you assholes, but I have shit to buy.
I'm going to buy an entire country, Keane. His voice lowered, and into it crept the resolution that had tempered the steel of his nature since first he had heard of the ruthless, cold-blooded individual who chose to dress in the devil's masquerade and call himself all too appropriately Dr. Satan. Take us home.
I'm going to stop him, Beatrice. It may cost me my life, but the cost will come after the purchase, which is the destruction of Dr. Satan.
And on that purchase is a sales tax, and that sales tax is justice.
And they'll be like, do you want a tip? And I will tip. Liberty.
And the American way.
And then they'll be like, do you want to donate an extra $1 to this charity? And I'll be like, no thanks, I know you just used that as a tax write-off. Walgreens. Anyway, I stand on the precipice at the checkout counter of the Walgreens of justice. And that, you left.
And I pay the fee for truth.
See, we need to make our own.
It's the only place that develops film anymore. However, he smiled and his voice returned to normal. However, histrionics won't catch him, will they? It takes work and persistence to do that. Such work as the sifting of news items, for example. So go get me the newspaper.
And coffee.
I think I have... And a coffee.
You still haven't got me that coffee. Although it's near evening now, so where the fuck is my martini?
Port.
Time for dessert. Bring me an affogato. And I think I have one here that is to prove very, very important. He took from a drawer a half-page cut from the society section. It pictured 3 people. A woman with a granite chin and gray hair like cast iron and a wave over her forehead. A girl who was a replica of her. And a foppishly handsome young man with a harassed look. Mrs. Corey Magnus, wife of the financier, is sailing at midnight tonight for England with her daughter, Princess Rimsky.
Princess Rimsky.
Hold up. Corey Magnus and Princess Rimsky.
The laziest porn nickname of all time.
Yeah, I'll rim you, maybe, whatever.
And her son-in-law, the prince, last of the Borsakovs.
Wait, is that the foppishly handsome? Foppish.
They will be received at court. Ian stared long at the pictures in the text. Another wealthy man living without his family for a time. Corey Magnus. And all the others were left alone by their families before beginning their cash withdrawals. He put the clipping carefully away, and in his eyes was pity as well as stony resolve, for he knew that another man had been marked by Dr. Satan, another victim for the strange and as yet unconquerably. Looks like there's an accent mark over that E.
There is. There.
And as yet unconquerably, a crime routine contrived by the red-masked, red-robed demon who juggled with human beings as though they were pawns, to be thrown away when the game was over.
Hell yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm so glad we got some rich-ass shitty names. I was hoping for that.
Me too. I was very disappointed at Weldman, but the story made up for it. It's fine.
Yeah. Corey Magnus.
That is where we will take our break until the next thrilling episode of Dr. Satan.
Indeed.
Hopefully we can get David on for this one. Unfortunately, he had to work, so...
For sure. If you like pulp, because we like pulp, and we're reading pulp, and it's great, we're hosting a pulp writing contest, if you hadn't noticed. And there is... We'll leave a link below to the announcement and the rules and all that, but we greatly encourage everyone listening to partake, because it's new, it's fun, it's here, it's now, and we want to see all of your takes on this neo-pulp revival.
And you got the whole summer to write it out. I forget the date it's August, right?
August 15th, I think.
Yeah. Well, the date, the deadline and all that is in the rules in the link below. So if you like what you hear, check out our other podcasts on the Creative Horror Network, like, as they mentioned, the Jameson tapes, which they just finished an episode. And honestly, it's been an episode. It's a podcast that I listen to more frequently than this one.
We do have a banger of an episode coming out. It is oh boy, this is a weird fucking movie we just watched.
I cannot wait for that.
Make sure to tip your bartender
with justice.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of CreativeHorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at creativehorror.com.